I have an Ariens Deluxe 30. We're going to be doing a summarizing video. We're going to show you how to change the oil. We're going to show you how to change the spark plug and where the spark plug is located. We're also going to show you how to fog the engine. We're going to put some fuel stabilizer in it. We're also going to be removing the 3 belts. You have a drive belt and 2 auger belts. We have to remove this front housing off to do that. So I'm going to take you over to the bench and I'm going to show you the chemicals we're going to use to do this job. Alright, so this is our machine. Like I said, it's the Ariens Deluxe 30. It is 30 width and 21 high. Really good machine. We've run it about 6 times this year. We're going to be putting it away. I'm going to take you over these chemicals and show you what we're going to use to do this job. Okay, so this is some of the tools we're going to be needing for this job. Just a standard 3/8 drive. We need a 5/8 with an extension for the spark plug. Extension needle nose. We got some surgeon needle nose, which I really like these. They have a lock on them. It's good for springs. Some little wire cutters. I'll use those for the springs too. A 3/8 combination wrench. A 12mm. A 5/8. 9/16. A half. And a 3/8. We're also going to be using an air ratchet and an impact. Now this is all American made, so it's all American sockets, okay? American tools. We're going to also be using some stable fogging oil, some Ariens oil. This is the 5W30 SAE, some WD-40, some stable fuel stabilizer, some snow jet. This is for the throttle, for the chute and everything. And then also some silicone protectant. We'll use this for the detail at the end. All right, our first step is we want to support the back end of this. So what I have here is just a tie-down strap that I've got connected up to the garage door opener. And what I'm going to do is just cinch this down to hold the back end of this, because when we remove this front half, it's going to get really top heavy and this will want to tilt back. And we only want to take a couple pieces of 2x4 and just slide those in underneath. They're going to actually go right in between the tires, because what we want to do is we want to hold this end back here. Now we're going to start taking off this chute and the arm crank. Okay, now we want to just remove this 3/8 bolt here and this 3/8 bolt. You can leave these two connected. Okay, then we can remove the whole rod. Alright, now we want to remove this cable. So what we want to do is just take on the needle nose and we're just going to squish that. It's this little plastic clip. Okay, we just want to squish both sides so that we can push this down and pull that out. And the cable's removed. Alright, now we want to remove this rod that the chute connects to. So we're going to take a 9/16 and remove these 2 bolts. Alright, now we want to remove this plastic shield, and there are 2 bolts right here and right here. We're just going to remove those. There are 3/8. Okay, now that we can separate the 2 halves, I'm going to remove these 2 bolts. They're 12mm. You want to hold this side when you release this. So I just got my hand here on the muffler. Okay, just make sure it doesn't separate without you holding it. Okay, now with the back handlebar supported, you can separate these 2 halves. And what you can do is just pull them apart, okay? Just like that. And just kind of separate it. Now we haven't taken the belt off yet. We're going to do that now. Now the next step is we want to take off the tensioner. Now what this does is this helps the belt stay on the pulley. And there's just 2 bolts right here. It's 1/2 inch. We're just going to remove this housing. Okay, now we're just going to remove this housing. 2 1/2 inch bolts. Okay, set that aside. Then we can take the belt, pull the top one off, or the front one, and then the back one. Okay, I'll set you here on the other angle. All right, now that we've got the belts removed and we've removed this housing that holds the belts in place, just grab the belt, this one right here. This one will probably just pop off, but just grab a hold of this and you can just tilt it forward and use that as your handle to slide it forward. Okay, now that we've got the front housing off, we can access, this is the drive belt. This is the one that connects to the transmission. The one that we just removed that has the two belts, that one's for the auger. So this one's a little bit more complicated to get off. We actually have to take this cam adjustment off and the pulley. So we got to take a couple of these little things out. There's a pin that has to be pulled out. This thing slides away. I'll show you how to take that off next. All right, our next couple steps, we need to remove some springs. There's a spring right over here on this side. There's also a spring right up here that goes across the top to the other side of the housing. So we need to remove those first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pliers, lock those down, and I'm just going to remove this spring, okay? Now I've taken some pictures of it, so I know how to put it back together. I recommend you do the same thing. Then we got to remove these two 3/8 bolts. Then there's a lock plate that'll come out, okay? But I'm going to remove this bottom spring right here. So what I want to do is just grab a hold of that, pull on it, okay? And then that spring will come out. There's that one. And then you need to remove this one. Okay, now there's another spring over here on this side, but don't worry about that. You don't need to remove that. Now I've lubed this area up already, just for kind of winterizing purposes, but you do not need to remove this spring or this rod right here. Okay, so leave that in place. So now we're going to remove this cotter pin, this little quick connector, and then these two 3/8 bolts. So just get underneath that clip, pull that up, and remove these two 3/8 bolts. Okay, now there will be a little lock plate back here. Just need to slide that up. It might fall down, and that's okay. You just need to move that so that you can get this rod. You slide over this rod, pull out this little plastic bushing, okay? Then you can kind of work, get it loose. Now we got to remove this cable on this side. Okay, so there is a clip right here. Now this connects to the arm handle up on the handlebar. Okay, so we just want to pull this pin out. All right, then we want to push off the washer. Get that out of the way. Then we want to push off the cable. And this thing should slide over. It's not going to slide over until we remove this clamp over on this side right here, okay? So this has to, there it goes, it fell through. I'll show you what that looks like when I can get that out. Then we can slide this over, because you got to slide this over this way, okay? And then you can take it off the top. The belt has to come off the top. You see up there. So you have to remove the belt off the top and then kind of turn this thing as it comes out. Let me move the camera here back and just kind of wiggle it out like that, okay? And then you can bring the belt off. Now I will just leave it like this for the season, and then when it's time to put it back into play, we'll put all the belts back together. All right, so here's this little clamp I was telling you about that fell down, okay? And what that clamp does, that clamp rides just like this, okay? And then that bolts into it, and you get those two 3/8 bolts come through the side, and then they actually thread into that because there's actual threads into that. And that holds this thing from moving back and forth, okay? So that just kind of falls off, and then here was the washer that fell off, which goes on the other side of this cable right here. And then that clip goes over that, okay? So that's kind of how that goes together. Now what I will do is I will actually leave it just like this for the season. Then when it's time to put it back into play, I will put new belts back on. So I'm going to take you over and I'm going to show you how to change the oil and fog the engine. Okay, there's two ways to drain the oil on this. You have this, which is the factory drain plug for the oil, or you can come over here to the back with a socket. I think this is a 9/16, and then just remove this. All the oil will drain out. I recommend as you're doing that you take off the oil cap, okay, where you fill it, and just spray a little compressed air down there to kind of help bleed all the oil out. Now I've already drained the oil, so I just wanted to kind of show you, walk you through the process. Take this off, drain the oil out, put some compressed air up here on the top end, compressed air to kind of push the oil through, and then we'll put fresh oil back in. Now what we've used for oil is we use the Ariens 4-cycle oil that comes from factory, the SAE 5W30. That's what we're going to put in there, okay? Now I'm going to show you where the spark plug's located. It's kind of tricky. It's right here behind this little plate. Okay, here's where your spark plug is located. And what you do is you just twist this little plastic wing nut. Now this is just here to, keep the snow and stuff off the spark plug, the rain and, all the elements. So just pull that off, remove that. You want to take a 5/8 spark plug socket, and then just remove your spark plug. All right, now that we've removed the spark plug, what we're going to do is just take some of this stable fogging oil, and we're just going to spray it in the spark plug hole. Okay, just like that. Then we will come over here and crank it a little bit. All right, and that'll just kind of help lube that cylinder so that it doesn't freeze up over the winter or the summertime. We'll spray a little bit more in there. And that's pretty much all you have to do to fog that. Now the spark plug that this engine calls for is a Champion spark plug. The number is RC12YC. You can pick this up at any automotive store, AutoZone, O'Reilly, Checker. You can even get these at Walmart. Replace these every time you do your winterizing and you put it away for the season, okay? Now what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and put the spark plug back in the hole. You always want to make sure that you leave the spark plug inside the cylinder. You don't ever want to leave it out because then it'll get all the contaminants in there. Now that engine is fogged, so you don't really want to run it until you're ready to start using it for next season. And one more thing I will tell you that you should do is pull your engine till you feel the compression build up. When you feel the compression, then stop. And that way you know that piston's at top dead center and the less corrosion that you can get inside that cylinder. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to take some of this stable. Now this is the fuel stabilizer. This actually goes inside the gas tank. So the gas tank's about half full, and we're going to fill this up about 2 ounces right there. Okay, then just take it off the cap and just pour that down in there. Okay, and then we will run the engine for a few minutes, and then we will turn the fuel off. Now the last step, what you want to do, you want to start it up. You want to let it run for a few minutes with the fuel stabilizer inside there. Okay, then you want to start it up and you want to turn the gas completely off, all right? And then you want to let it run out of gas so that the carburetor is completely dry. I'm not going to do that on this particular video. I've already summarized this machine. I'm just doing you guys a favor and just showing you how to do it, but that's how you do it. Just turn the fuel off, let it run itself out of gas, and then it's ready to be stored for the winter. Okay, so that's it for what we're going to do on this. Now we are going to put it back together, but we're not going to put the belts back in. I always leave the belts out, otherwise they stretch throughout the summer months. So we're pretty much done with it. We're going to put it downstairs. We're going to store it for as long as we need to until it starts snowing again next year. But that's pretty much how you do it. And so hopefully you guys liked the video. We do a couple of different things in the summer months. In the winter months we do snow removal. In the summer we do detailing. So I just wanted to kind of share this video with you. Brand new snow thrower costs I think around $1,500. So it's a really good idea to make sure you do this preventative maintenance so that next year when you're ready to fire that bad boy up, all you got to do is throw some fuel in it and she's good to go. So anyway, talk to you guys in the next video.